Welcome to Morning Infusion with Dr. V. Can you imagine being depressed and working as a nurse trying to take care of patients that may be depressed as well? My name is Dr. Viola Pierce. I'm the owner and the CEO of VP Nursing and the Nurse Nurturer and the facilitator of Secret Suppers Worldwide with Dr. V, where our goal is to teach nurses to leverage the knowledge that they already know working from their computers around the world, creating generational wealth and owning their own time. Our goal is to come to you each Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 7:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time to give you the fuel to crush your goals to show up exceptional on a daily basis. Know that one of the goals of Morning Infusion with Dr. V is to expose you to leaders that have overcome so that you know that the possibilities are endless. If you're watching on YouTube, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and leave a comment if you were ever told that you were not succeed. And click the calendar link above if you want to create another stream of income and enroll in our 12-week course, VP Nursing Business Academy. Our special guest today is Crystal Parker. So Crystal Parker is an ER nurse, board certified nurse practitioner, wife, and new mom who once suffered from major stress, unhealthy eating habits, compassion fatigue, and burnout. Crystal is excited to share her self-care journey, practices, and products with you so that you can experience a life of joy. Burnout is affecting nurses now more than ever. We are at our breaking point, and Crystal wants to help nurses step off the ledge and back into a life they are proud of. In her spare time, she creates products that targets the specific needs of nurses to enhance their self-care journey. Crystal's goal is to encourage self-care, self-love, and remind us that we come first. For sure. I'm super excited. So thank you, Crystal, for joining me. And Crystal is joining me from California. She's one of those that's up at 6:20, well, 4:20, 4:30. 4:30 in the morning.
Yes.
For sure. So now, so tell me, what was your primary reasoning for becoming a nurse?
So I come from a family of nurses, from my grandmother to my mom's a nurse, my aunt's a nurse, cousins are nurses. So it was kind of bred in me that I was going to become a nurse, but I tried to fight it and do everything else besides going to nursing school, still medical field. But I tried other routes, and eventually it just led me back to nursing, and I fell in love with it. And I was like, okay, now I can see why we're a family full of nurses, because it really kind of came easy.
So what were the routes that you wanted to go?
So like nurse practitioner, and then I'm sorry, physician assistant.
Okay.
And then, first medical doctor, and then I thought about doing psychiatry, and then yeah, physician assistant, and then actually one of the deans of the physician assistant was like, no, do nursing, do nursing. And I was like, well, you're telling me to do nursing. This has to be a sign. So did nursing, and then eventually did the nurse practitioner route. So I'm very happy with that.
Sweet. So now you currently work in the emergency, well, at least you did work in the emergency department.
Yeah.
Now, what was your primary reasoning for becoming an ER nurse?
So another story, how like I wanted to do labor and delivery nurse because my mom was labor and delivery nurse. I thought the idea of delivering babies sounded wonderful, and it still does. But we did our rotation in labor and delivery, and it was just hardly any babies being born. We were stuck in a room doing homework. So then I ended up getting my internship in the ER, and it was jumping. It's like gunshot over here, stabby over here, running around. So I was like, yeah, this is where I want to be. So went into ER, but 10 years later, I'm like, okay, the excitement, it's a bit much now.
Exactly. It's overrated, is it not?
Yeah, I want to go back to, and I know L&D is, now knowing L&D is not slow.
No.
It's very busy.
Especially in the midst of a pandemic and everybody at home.
Right, exactly. So yeah, so that's how I chose the ER.
So, it's kind of funny because that's kind of how I became an ER nurse as well. Because what happened was I was to be floated, and I was like, well, okay, let me just go on down there and see how things are. Got down there, and I was like, I mean, it was this girl that came in. She was young. She was eclamptic. We didn't know that she was pregnant. Her mama didn't know she was pregnant,
Mm-hmm.
and she ended up having a seizure while in the triage chair,
Oh,
and that, and I was like,
see how you're drawn to
oh.
the crazy? That's where I want to be.
These are my people. These are my people. And it was good for about 15 years, but now I'm like,
Exactly.
yeah, I don't want to know. I don't want to
Right.
know anymore.
You
when
see,
we
seen
first
it all.
Now, when we first talked, you said that you had a bout of depression during flu season. Now,
Mm-hmm.
what were the steps that you took to battle the depression?
So, and it's funny to think that like just a little measly flu season almost took me out, but it's good because then that set me up for season like now with pandemic and COVID. Um, but at the time, you just don't know that you're in kind of that dark place, but having anxiety about going to work and literally like almost in tears having to go to work. And then what finally made it click is, going within myself and realizing the compassion fatigue. It's like, you have like a major attitude towards these patients and,
Hmm.
always providing good nursing care, but just in my head, it's just like, having that stank attitude kind of. So,
Hmm.
and it was actually during my wedding. So I was working a lot, the ER was, we were doing blood transfusions in the hallways and it was just a crazy time. So, I was working a lot of overtime preparing for my wedding and honeymoon. And then, slowly as it got closer to it, I started, going on the diet to fit the dress and eating better and taking more care of myself. Friends were taking me out for spa days. And it kind of clicked that, like, I need to do something outside of work and I need to make sure that I'm always set up so that I'm not depending on having to work overtime or having to work all these hours at work. So taking those steps kind of was a way of forcing myself into doing the self care. And then eventually, during wedding season, I took a month off of work and just having that break and able to work on myself and have mindset changes really helped me. So that's what kind of brought me out of it. And then I started going back to work and telling people, about different things I was doing and listening to the complaints of nurses and started kind of preaching self care and, oh, well, I've been trying this and, a day out, before kids, a day out of
Hmm.
the week is going to be mine to do whatever I want and, do these self care things. And, it really worked. And then that's what led me to thinking, I could teach other nurses this, how we don't take, and then just hearing the different stories over the years, it's just like we don't take care of ourselves,
Mm-mm.
not
Mm-mm.
hardly enough, especially in the field that we work in that's so demanding. We have people pulling on us and um, you just have to take care of yourself. It's so hard to do. I still notice when I get really really busy, self-care kind of takes a back seat, but just having it in your mind to get back on track and start doing things for yourself, that's what helped me get out of my depressing times at work.
And and being very strategic about it as well.
Mhm.
For me, I am very strategic about it. Like every Sunday, I'm like, I may work a little bit in the mornings, but as a general rule, I try to take that time, because if I don't take that time, then that compassion fatigue does come upon.
Mhm.
And that's one thing that, I think, because I've been a nurse for how long have you been a nurse?
This is going on 11 years.
Okay, so I have been a nurse for 20, almost 28 years.
Uh-huh.
And when I first started, compassion fatigue, I don't even think was a thing,
Nope.
right?
Mm-mm.
And, for us, I mean, being very intentional about teaching, I think it should be a class that
Mm-hmm.
they should teach in school about
Absolutely.
compassion fatigue and about emotional intelligence and about, how to better take care of the patients as well. So yes, that is super, super important.
Yeah.
Now, what are some things that you feel that frontline workers can do to ensure their mental health and wealth during this very unprecedented time?
I think, like you said, emotional fatigue. I'm sorry, emotional. It's early, y'all.
Intelligent.
Emotional intelligence is so important. You have to check in with yourself. Check in with your coworkers. That's the only way that you're going to know, because it slips in, that compassion fatigue and that burnout just slips in, and then before you know it, you're just not the person that, or the nurse that you want to be. So I think checking in with yourself, and what you said is so important, and what I preach and teach is like you have to be intentional about your self care. It has to be a non negotiable. You have to set alarms. You have to set, like you said, Sunday is the perfect day to just reset and give yourself that space. So I think that nurses really need to check in with themselves, be honest, and say, hey, I might need to take a personal day off tomorrow because I'm feeling some type of way, and not just keep going and keep going because you either need the money or you're just stuck in this, roller coaster of working all these days, or the hospital's depending on you, so you have to be there. Like, you have to take that time out for yourself and know when enough is enough and when you've reached your limits. So I think
And
that's
I think part of it too is, kind of checking with your coworkers, right?
important.
And saying, you were not very nice in there. Are you
Hmm.
okay?
Exactly. Because we all know those nurses who are like, oh my, what's
What?
going on with them? And that's funny that you say that, because I had a nurse, a friend, and I actually have to go back and apologize to her because she's normally like the happiest, bubbliest person. And she ended up having a surgery, and she came back to work. And then, it would be to where she walked down the hallway and wouldn't speak. And I'm like, oh, what's wrong with her? Like, she has attitude. And then after a couple months, she revealed that, from her surgery, she had depression and all these medical problems. And I was like, I had to go to her and say, I am so sorry. I didn't. And she's like, for what? I said, I didn't check in on you. I just
Hmm.
blew it off as, oh, she has attitude. Like, why'd she come back with attitude, instead of checking in, knowing that's not my friend? That's not the person I'm used to working with. And I just feel so bad about it. But it taught me that it's so important to check in with your coworkers and see that they're okay, and not just brush it off, because we all have stuff that we're fighting at home, and that, people don't. And then we have to go to work and take care of people and put on a front, and it gets really difficult sometimes. So yeah, check in with your coworkers for sure.
Yeah, that's for sure. I love it. I love it. Now, you are an entrepreneur. What was the reason
Mhm.
that you decided to become the owner of your own business?
Oh, so that kind of hit me. Was not looking. I was not looking to be an entrepreneur. And it's funny because like the women's side of my family are nurses, but the men's side of my family are entrepreneurs. So
Ah,
it wasn't like too shocking, but basically I just had this idea. I remember shopping at scrub stores, and my mom, like family of nurses, always dry hands, right? Always like dry and aging hands. And I thought, like, hey, we don't have a lotion for nurses. And then over the years, using lotions that weren't what I thought that they should be, or that will wash off, I thought to create this lotion and set
okay.
off on a path of, trying to get that created. And then it just kind of snowballed, and here I am. So that's kind of. And then, once you start entrepreneurship, you find all these other it opens up the door to all these other things that you can do. So, and it really has been, I will say too, one of the reasons that saved me from those depressing times, because I actually thought about the idea when I was on the vacation from my wedding to start, this lotion in my own business. And it really saved me because it gave me something outside of work to do and to look forward to and to work on, versus just going to work and coming home. So that's what started the
And it's your
entrepreneur.
purpose, right? It's your
Yes,
purpose. And
absolutely.
that has really helped me as well. I
Hmm.
mean, I'd been through that time of being depressed, right?
Hmm.
And having that compassion fatigue. But once I figured out that, I was on this road, and didn't really know that I would be on this road
Hmm. Hmm.
until I figured it all out, and I was like, yeah, I love that. And once you become an entrepreneur, it's no turning back.
It's not. And I talk to people and I'm so excited, and they're just like, that's how you know it's for you. They're just like, oh, why would you want to do that? And it's like, there's so many nurses out here doing things that they love, that's their passion. Like, you can do something else. Like, just get started, and it will take you the rest of the way. Because if it's your passion, you're gonna, even time you see all my products back here. Even times when my living room, looks a mess, it's that driving force of doing something that you're passionate about, that takes you the rest of the way.
And the reality is that, and not that I'm knocking school, because I've got my doctoral degree, don't get me wrong.
Mhm,
But the
mhm,
reality is that, I was under the impression that just getting my doctoral degree, I would, make a lot more money. And the
mhm.
reality is that that's not the case. That's not the
It's not.
case.
No.
And, it just depends. So, if you go to from your RN, your ADN to your BSN, you may get a 25-cent raise,
Mhm, mhm.
and then if you get that 25-cent raise, then, the reality is that you can make more money doing what you love all
Absolutely.
the time, creating your own dreams, fulfilling your own dreams as opposed to fulfilling other people's. So it is super,
Yeah.
super important.
And that's
And
why
not,
things like your podcast and show are so important because I'm searching and searching, and once I found all these nurses who were doing, it was like a whole new world. I was just like on a high from that. Like I can't believe there's nurses in business and doing their own thing, and outside of CPR classes, those are great too. But just something outside of like medicine, it was just so inspiring to me, and to see someone else who looked like me who's doing it, it was just yeah,
on for
excellent.
sure, for sure. So now, what is your product and how is it helpful? The hands, I'm just gonna tell you, it's lotion and it is phenomenal. But you got some more products too, as well,
I
right?
do, I do. So I started with the lotion, and then I tied that into, my self care journey and helping nurses um, with that. And so yeah, I do have the hand cream, and
Mm-hmm.
then I always say just taking a moment for yourself. Self care doesn't have to be. Sometimes we don't have a whole Sunday to do self care,
Mm-hmm.
but I do like my face routine in the morning. I do that meticulously, religiously, and I read my affirmations at the same time, and that's kind of my 15 minutes a day to myself to do my own thing. So they're just little products. I have a foot soak after, it's called 16-hour foot soak, 16-hour
Okay.
shift foot soak for a reason, because
Oh,
those long hours in the ER, I know your feet are hurting. So this is a foot soak. It's very soothing, relaxing. I have candles. Let's see, candles, soap, bath bombs, just different things to, what, as I say, enhance the self care journey, to set the vibe,
yes.
set the mood, and let you know you're doing something for yourself. And then the candles have words of affirmation on them to remind you, self love. I am enough. Positive thinking creates positive actions. And then I have four, but these are just two. Falling in love with myself. I am enough, and I matter. So just little
Ah,
things to remind you that you're enough.
I love it. I love your lotion. I mean, it is
Thank you.
absolutely amazing.
And
It makes my
I
hands feel so good.
Yeah,
So, so
and I
good.
made it thick but not too greasy. I worked with the actual chemist on this lotion. There were manufacturers when I was first getting it created who would send me lotion. I'm like, no, 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 you don't understand. Like these regular lotions you're sending me are not going to cut it. Like us nurses need specific lotion with specific ingredients that aren't too greasy to put our gloves on. You can wash your hands a couple times, but lotion doesn't wash off. It stays, it locks in the moisture. And yeah, it's been helping people with like eczema and psoriasis. So it's a really good product. I'm really proud of it. Not only that I created it, but that it actually works. So
I
yeah.
love it. I love it. I love it. Now, who is a nurse or entrepreneur that has impacted your career, and what are some of the things that they did that were so impactful for you?
Hmm. I probably have to say my mom. Um,
She
and
would beat you if you didn't.
I know, yeah, yeah, she would. Um, but my mom has always taken time for herself. So I don't know if that bled off into me, but she's always big on caring for herself, and she always used to tell me that my grandma who had 11 11 kids, that when you're tired, you rest.
That's right.
You don't keep pushing yourself. You don't try to be superwoman, even though we all try to. But when you're tired, you rest. So my mom was big on vacations. That's her like self-care thing. So just instilling those things. She did work a lot. I don't see how she worked all those. It was a different type of nursing back then, maybe, but I don't see how she worked all those shifts. But she definitely took time for herself, and taught us to always take time for ourselves as well.
So anybody who's in the audience, if you could tell us, some of your self-care routines, that would be
Mhm.
great, because we really want to know, just drop it in the comments. Really want to know what your self-care routine is so that we can, give it to other nurses. And so one of the Facebook users said, "This is amazing. I was just thinking of Crystal this morning. I was about to send her a message about to get some hand cream samples." So
Yes.
somebody else loves that hand cream too.
Oh, and I have a special code for your audience. They can get 20% off all products this week because this is our month of love. It's
Okay,
my
okay.
birthday month. It's Valentine's Day. It's Black History Month. So if you use the code SC for self care and then RX20, you get 20%. So
Oh,
SCRX 20% off.
Okay, we're gonna have to drop that
Yeah.
in the comment section for
And
sure.
we do have samples. We do have samples that we send out for free. So
Okay.
yeah.
All right. Look at you. Look at
Yeah.
you. So now, what are some books that you have read that have positively impacted you on the journey into being your own boss?
Hmm. One book I'm reading now is called Superfans. Um, I forgot her name. I think it's Lynn something. But it just because as nurses, I think the hardest thing has been in getting into entrepreneurship is that we aren't, it's like we go to school, we learn our skill, and then we go use it. And owning your own business, it's a whole. I feel like the last 3 years, I feel like I always say I was going to school to get my master's as well as getting my business degree because I was just so lost. So, knowing how to market and get the word out and, showing up on camera are things that don't always come natural to nurses, but it's something that I have to learn to do. So that book has been really giving me, because you give me the steps like in school, give me what I'm supposed to do and I'll go do it. But having to think of every little step was kind of hard for me. So, Supervans has been giving me little steps that I can do into marketing and spreading the word and letting more people know about my business because I read something that said people need you. You have to think of business as not like I'm asking people for money because I don't want to do that, but people need this lotion. People need to know that they need to take care of themselves. People need to
That's right.
know that it's okay to take care of yourselves and that is something that you should be doing. So thinking about business like that, like someone needs to hear what I have to say and hear my journey so that they can change things around in their life has been very, very powerful for me.
I think that that is such the truth. And, what you said about people needing what we
Mm-hmm.
have
Mm-hmm.
is huge.
Yes.
And we sit back on our laurels, not intentionally, right? But thinking we're asking them for money. But the reality is that the business, what you do, someone else needs that thing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, your lotion for me was something that I needed,
Yep.
right? And it
Yep.
helped me. So somebody said our moms are usually top of the list for our influence in our lives, and that's true. And someone said I take time to walk 2 to 3 times weekly. And someone said,
Mhm.
what is her business? And so your business is, tell them what your business
So my
is.
business is helping nurses to I encourage nurses to put themselves first through self-care. So through my Instagram and through my website, which will have more content on there coming soon. That's what I do, just different articles, different reminders, different tips on helping nurses to put themselves first. And then along with that is I create the products like the lotion, candles, foot soap that go along with that to help you kind of remember, oh, I want to do that foot soap tonight, or oh, I want to burn that candle. That kind of just reminds you to put yourself first through self care. So that's what the business is. And then, did I say the website on there? Or we didn't
Yeah,
get to
go ahead. Say the
so
website.
the website is www.myselfcarerx.com.
.com.
So RX, your prescription. So the prescription for your self care needs.
I
So
know that's right.
myselfcarerx.com.
So Camila, hey Camila, Camila say hello, Dr. Pearson. Good morning, Crystal.
Hello.
So I think that every nurse should have a small business. I'm
Mhm.
fairly sure, I'm fairly certain that every nurse should have a small business. And what are some of your thoughts around that?
Oh, I absolutely agree. Like I said, having a business is something that saved me because it gave me something to do outside of work. I just know that I have to get through. When things are tough, because I don't want to make it sound like nursing so bad, but if I can get through those 3 shifts and I can get back home to work on my business, which is what I'm truly passionate about. But I just want to say too, for Viola's coaching program, like coaching is so important, so needed. Especially as a nurse, we have no clue what we're doing, or just someone to bring that out of you. The thoughts that you have in your head, and it's invaluable how much coaching is. I've had a few coaches over the years, and I've been doing business about 3 years now. And my first coach, she had. The reason I picked her, she did product development and she had a nurse who did a testimonial. And that was kind of my first like seeing nurses outside of medicine do business. This girl had a hair care line that's now a
Mhm.
Sally's, that's now $1 million business.
Oh
Um,
wow.
but she said she used her to help create her products, I had been emailing manufacturers, "Hi, I'm Crystal. I'm looking at this lotion. They didn't respond, or there's like a year wait." And I got this business coach. She did one email. The lotion was in progression. It was getting ready to get started, and I couldn't have done that by myself. So coaching is so valuable, and I definitely think that every nurse needs a small business, something to get their mind off of nursing, and something they enjoy, and make sure your business is something that you love and you're passionate about, and that you're not just creating another job for yourself.
That's right.
Because I also have another business I just started, which is IV hydration, um, and doing infusions, and it's just ER nurse. We start IVs like not like crazy. It's second nature. So and I saw the effects of how hydration helps people. So I went into that business as well. So pick something that you're passionate about, and you will never feel like you're working again.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. And that's the thing, because, and one of the reasons why I initially started was because I was mentoring, right? I was mentoring people and I absolutely loved it. And I was like, well, I can mentor people in business. I can, help them create another stream of income, right? Because at the end of the day, we all need another stream of income. Having one stream of income is hazardous to your wealth, period.
Absolutely.
And so being very clear on that, and being very clear on creating those multiple streams of income. So Camila said ernursesarethe.bomb.com. You are exactly right.
Yeah.
I mean,
yes, we are.
So now where we can find your products on, give the website one more time.
It's selfcarerx.com. And then I'm also on Instagram at selfcarerx or selfcarerx_.
All right, sweet. So when we get off, we're gonna share all the links so that they can just click on the link and then they can go there. Okay.
Perfect.
Now, it's been a pleasure. It's been a pleasure being with you. Pleasure. And I'm super, thank you for getting up at 4:30.
I'm off today.
So my name is Dr. Viola Pierce. I'm the owner and the CEO of VP Nursing and the Nurse Nurturer, and the facilitators of Secret Suppers Worldwide with Dr. V, where our goal is to teach nurses to leverage the knowledge that they already know, working from their computers around the world, creating generational wealth and owning their own time. Our goal is to come to you each Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 7:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time to give you the fuel to crush your goals and to show up exceptional on a daily basis. Know that one of the goals of Morning Infusion with Dr. V is to expose you to leaders such as Crystal that have overcome, so that you know that the possibilities are endless. If you're watching on YouTube, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and leave a comment if you were ever told that you would not succeed. And remember to click the calendar link above if you want to create another stream of income and enroll in our 12-week course, VP Nursing Business Academy.